Hi guys, it's the fifth episode of our DID podcast. I'm Sharon Estrada. I'm a senior at Voss.
I'm Bridget Sells, and I'm also a senior at Voss.
Today we're gonna be talking about how the DID is being portrayed and has been portrayed in media and this misconceptions, along with what the general public knows and what they don't know, along with how often DID is invalidated and not believed, and how it's an invisible illness.
So, like Sharon said, this is the fifth episode of our podcast. We've just been covering what dissociative identity disorder is, why we're doing this podcast. We've defined different terms. We've gone through the history of DID. We've defined different alters, and this is just a part of our signature project in an effort to help inform you guys a little bit more about dissociative identity disorder.
So, first of all, there's a large lack of knowledge out there, which is why we decided to pick this one so that we can spread awareness. I don't know if before our project you've ever heard of DID or if met someone that has DID, but it's not talked about very much, and it can be scary because sometimes the only things you've been seeing is like movies, like the Split one, which was such a terrible way to present the disorder and can lead to fear that is not supposed to be there. The way we were informed was through YouTube. We saw Anthony Padilla's video and we saw that, oh wow, I've never heard of this before. This is very interesting and I want to learn more. So we made our project on that.
Yes. So, like Sharon said, people don't really know a lot about the disorder, or what they do know, they still think it's called multiple personality disorder, which, when someone doesn't know, it's not necessarily bad to not know, but it's not called that anymore. And we know a lot more about it now and why it's called dissociative identity disorder. But what people do know only comes from what they've seen in the media or what they've seen online or what they've seen in movies. This even dates back to the 50s because that's when the first movie about dissociative identity disorder came out, and it was called The Three Faces of Eve. And even now, movies like this are still being made, like Sharon mentioned, Split, where these kinds of movies really demonize people with dissociative identity disorder, which can be very dangerous to the community because the community already feels very oppressed and they feel like, they're often getting invalidated, and whether it's from people in their family or from medical professionals. So to have representation in the media can be exciting for them, but not when it's negatively impacting their community.
Like I've seen a lot of people that watch it, they hear people that have DID and they're just like, oh no, they get very scared and they're just like, please don't hurt me. But if anything, these people have been traumatized, and this is why they have DID, because of the trauma, and they form the alters to protect themselves. So if anything, they are more scared than you are probably about around them, because many people use DID against them, and they don't believe it. They're just like, oh, you're just making it up, and it puts them in lots of danger. As we were doing research for our project, we were trying to look for community partners, and we thought maybe a therapist that deals with these type of disorders would help us, but it was actually so hard to find. Like I looked on many websites for therapists that specialize in DID, and I can pretty much not find anything. Like there was some about like anxiety and like this depression and like other things, but if I was someone that had DID, I would prefer someone that knew a lot more. This is a wide range of information that you need, and I would like someone that specialized in this and knew what they were dealing with. And so I can't imagine how they would receive help for therapy that they would need, because that is one of the treatments that helps along with medication.
Yeah, so this just all kind of ties back into how little resources there are, and it's just not very widely talked about. So it's very hard for people to find the resources they need locally too, because the whole point of us finding a community partner is someone within our community, but we're looking all over the internet. We can't find any kind of centers or any kind of people who specialize in it, and we don't even have the disorder. Like, we're just simply doing this for research purposes. So I can't even imagine someone with the disorder trying to get the help they need and not being able to find it. And this all goes back to invalidation too. There isn't ways for them to get help, so they're suffering alone, and they're being told, not only by just family members or people around them, but there's still a lot of medical professionals, despite the fact that it's been researched over literally centuries at this point. There are still many medical professionals who don't think it's a legitimate disorder, who think it's all psychosomatic, meaning that it's just made up in their head, that they think they are dissociating, they think they are having these other personality states when it's just themselves all along. and it's very much an invisible illness, meaning that you won't look at someone and be like, oh well, they have DID. Whereas with an amputee, you can look at them and see they're missing a limb, or someone who's paralyzed, you look at them and you see they're in a wheelchair. It's an illness that, because people can't see it, they often invalidate it more, which is also very dangerous to the person, because you can only hear this is fake, this isn't real, you're making it up, for so long before you actually start to believe that, and that can be very dangerous and damaging to them, because then they're not getting the help that they need.
So I've seen people go to psychiatric wards, or I've heard about them, and even then they're literally asking for help, like please help me, and they're denied because they're just like, no, I'm sorry, you have nothing I can help you with. It's not real. And so this can be very, being denied so often can also lead to like suicidal thoughts and things like that, and it's very scary to hear about. Also, once people, if some people do believe, like finally accept that it's real, they can use it against people, because they'll be like, oh, I can just trigger your child, and then they can get kidnapped and stuff like that. It's not a joke at all.
The fact that there's also so little information does often also lead to a lot of misdiagnoses. On average, they will get diagnosed 3 different times before they actually get the diagnosis of DID. And it's often with things like schizophrenia, where again, it's just like they're constantly being demonized and being told that they're dangerous, and they're not being given the right diagnosis. So when they're not being given the right diagnosis, they can't get the proper treatment to actually help them.
So this was our fifth episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you can learn a little bit about how hard it is to be dealing with this, and how hard it is to find information on this disorder.
Thank you for watching or listening. We will see you guys in the next episode, and the next episode will likely be our last episode. But if you have any questions, you can comment them or you can DM them to us. So
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much. Bye.